What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another video just for you. Before I get started, I hope everyone is doing okay out there, taking every day one day at a time. As for me, y'all know how I do. I'm always taking every day one day at a time, living life the best way I know how. And as of this recording, my birthday is on June 25th, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't have any concrete plans right now, but I'm pretty sure that's going to change. I turned 41, looking forward to everything. And again, I'm doing just fine, taking every day one day at a time. Continuing on, I know it's been quite a while since I've done a reaction video on my channel, and today I'm going to do one, and I do have a couple of more lined up as well, but this one I'm going to get started with courtesy of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Shout out to him. And even though he's talking a little bit about the quote unquote big beautiful bill that's still in limbo in Congress right now, he talks a little bit about Scott Jennings, the guy from Kentucky who's famous quote unquote for his appearances on CNN these days, and he's looking to run for Senate, I believe, in 2026. A good portion of this video is going to be talking about him among other things, and I just wanted to add in my thoughts as well. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared, and we're going to take a look at this here. Give me 1 second. All right, and without further ado, here we go.
I saw this clip and y'all, I find it to be utterly laughable. So this is that idiot Scott Jennings on CNN, and I want you to hear when the issue of poverty comes up. I want you to really pay attention.
That this is in place. Household income for the bottom 10% will go down 2%, and it'll go up 4% for the top 10%. And by 2033, it'll be down 4%, up 2% for the top 10%. So in essence, the poorest people are going to have less income. The richest people are going to have more income. That's according to the Congressional Budget Office.
Well, they suck. They get things wrong all the time. In 2017, when we passed the tax cuts, they totally missed the growth targets. They totally missed what was going to happen to federal revenue. They're not oracles. They can't foretell the future down to the exact science. Our Republican view is if we lower taxes, we'll have economic growth and it helps everybody.
This isn't rocket science, because the poor people are losing benefits, Medicaid, and SNAP. Excuse me?
You said the poor people.
What do you mean? People in the bottom,
illegal immigrants, the people who won't get up off the couch and go to work. Which people?
God. Okay, so let me explain. The requirements for Medicaid, and we had this conversation last night, but here are the real details. There are already requirements for people on Medicaid to work. This changes those requirements, so it increases them. So some people will have to requalify. They won't be able to do that, and they won't have coverage. There are changes to the out-of-pocket costs for people who are on this program, so they might have to pay money in order to get access health care. It changes how the federal government reimburses the state if they provide coverage for undocumented immigrants. So there are some real changes to like people who are eligible for the program now who will not be eligible for the program in the future.
I just really have to.
Okay. So he said, who are these poor people? Well, that's interesting. The Scott Jennings would say, who are these poor people? Y'all do know that Scott Jennings is considering a run for the United States Senate from Kentucky, right?
And I'll say this, whoever is running against him should not only run the strongest campaign possible, especially from a messaging standpoint, but should use his clips from CNN during the campaign. The guy can certainly talk his ass off, I'll give him that, but a lot of what he says is just total nonsense, but you tend to get that from those who worship Trump. He should be nowhere near the U.S. Senate.
Scott Jennings is a native of Kentucky, right? Are y'all aware that Scott Jennings was born in Dawson Springs, Kentucky? Antoine, go to my iPad. This is what I just pulled up. In Dawson Springs, Kentucky, the poverty rate is 26.9%. This is significantly higher than the national average of 12.4%. In fact, the Kentucky poverty rate is 16.1%. So, Scott, when you say, who are these poor people? It's your broke ass people. It's the broke ass white folks in your state. Kentucky is one of the brokest, poorest, most illiterate states in the union. Awful education, awful health care, high poverty. See, y'all, this is what these white conservatives do. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the illegal immigrants? No.
This group of people tend to vote heavily Republican and vote against their own interests. Can't forget about that.
They talking about your cousins, Scott. Your family members. See, I know you just signed your big new CNN contract and you think you the shit, and the New York Times has done a story on you and all these folks. But Scott Jennings, you clearly forgot where you came from. Scott Jennings, you come from a broke ass town. I ain't even gonna call it a city. Cause y'all not a city. You're a town. And see, this is what happens when these white conservatives get them a nice highfalutin drive, got you a little nice little suit, and you sit your little arrogant, smug ass on CNN, sipping on your coffee, and you think you the man. And your state is going to get screwed. See, I remember in 2016, I never forget, I was sitting here reading the article, and these folk, these broke, illiterate ass folk in Kentucky, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. We voted for Trump. And I sure hope Trump do something about that Obamacare. But I'm worried about my Affordable Care Act.
That part. Calling it Obamacare was disingenuous from the beginning and gaslighting in the first degree, but without the name calling, you know exactly who you're dealing with when Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are viewed as two different things. It should only be referred to as the ACA, but I digress.
Them clueless ass folks didn't even realize that they were voting against their own interests. See, y'all, this is what trips me out. I get a kick out of when I do these shows with these white conservatives. Like Patrick David, hell, he ain't even no white conservative. His ass came from Iran or Armenia, one of them damn countries, and he gonna try to tell me why I move back to the neighborhood. Why don't you move your ass back to your country? You ain't from here. So they love talking about y'all black folks. Y'all keep voting Democrat. And what have y'all gotten for it? Then they run these handkerchief heads out here like Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum. And they all come out here. Y'all ain't got nothing. Then you got that crazy ass fool out of Chicago, the fitness woman. Oh, this is what the Democrats, and what do y'all got? And what do y'all got? All right, y'all notice. They don't never ask white folks that question. The national media, they don't never ask white people in Mississippi and Alabama and Arkansas and Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina and Tennessee and West Virginia and Kentucky and on and on. They never ask them, why do y'all broke, illiterate, uninsured white people, Why do y'all keep voting against your own interest?
That question will likely never be asked because they either don't want to ask it, the constituents may refuse to answer it, or no one wants to feel uncomfortable, or a combination of all three of these. And like I've said in previous videos, I'm going to say it again. Everybody should be doing more. The Democrats, the Republicans, and the independents. It should not be all up to the Democrats to fix everything and then for the Republicans to come in and mess everything up. And again, I've said this before. The Democratic Party is closely associated with the black community. So naturally, when the Democrats fall short anywhere, there's going to be some scrutiny, there's going to be some pushback, and there's going to be some criticism. I get that you want to hold people accountable for what they do and what they don't do. I understand that. But it seems like in a case like this, it's always smoke for the Democrats. And again, yes, I'm a Democrat. I got no problem saying that. I got no problem saying that that's the party I identify with. So I'm not caping. It's not any of that. But it just never ceases to amaze me that there's always this pushback and always this smoke for the Democrats, whereas you rarely see that with the Republicans. And if anything, usually when there's smoke for the Republicans, it comes from some people in the Democratic Party, but sometimes it comes from the GOP. I just wanted to step in and throw that in there.
What has the Republican Party given you? I know what they gave y'all is what Howard Dean said in 2004. God gave guns. Y'all love y'all guns. Y'all hate the gays. And y'all so-called love you some God. Except when it comes to feeding the poor, clothing the naked, and providing shelter to the homeless. See, I get a kick out of seeing these folk in West Virginia. I get a kick out of seeing the folk in my home state of Texas talking about how they love them some Donald Trump and they wearing their MAGA hats proudly and they flying their Trump flag. And oh my God, Trump gonna change this country and your broke ass about to lose your Medicaid. They've talked about how many hospitals.
Let me stop it right there, right quick. I would not be surprised if there are some in our country who will risk losing everything if it means worshiping Trump, but in reverse, he wouldn't do the same for them. Let's continue on.
Are going to be impacted. Some 72 to 100 rural hospitals are not going to be able to pay their bills, but y'all thought y'all were doing something to the blacks. Oh, y'all thought y'all were doing something to them illegal immigrants. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we going to go after them. Oh, yeah, we about to sit here.
And that's what I continuously refer to as petty and spiteful voting.
And we about to give so much money to the military that their budget is about to hit $1 trillion, and they never spent $1 trillion in American history on the budget. But oh, here it comes. But all y'all broke ass people in Dawson Springs, Kentucky, the home of Scott Jennings. Let's talk about them food banks not getting food. Let's talk about when your cough turns into bronchitis and your bronchitis turns into pneumonia. And then you're going to look up and they're trying to gut the Affordable Care Act. They're trying to gut Medicaid. Your hospital's going to shut down. Then what you going to do? I know what you're going to do in Dawson Springs, Kentucky. You're going to go home and you're going to wrap yourself in your Trump flag and you're going to try to figure out how to warm up. But guess what? Ain't no lining in it. It ain't fleece. It ain't going to help you. See, I can't wait. I would love to hear I would love to have Scott Jennings go back home. Matter of fact, CNN, why don't y'all send Scott Jennings on one of them silly little ass interview tours? You know, y'all love sending Van Jones out. Why don't y'all send Scott Jennings back to Dawson Springs?
They won't.
Why don't say, oh, hometown boy done gone national? Oh, we get to look up on TV and we get to look at our like little Scott Jennings. It's right here from Dawson. I bet they got a sign. Dawson Springs, Kentucky, home of CNN Scott Jennings. And then you get to go ahead, he get to come back. Let's have Scott tell them what happened to the program that helped folk pay their energy bills that got gutted by Elon Musk Doge. I'd love for Scott to go back and talk about there any farmers out there, how they going to be impacted by these tariffs. Antoine, go back to my iPad. Let me say it again, y'all. The poverty rate in Kentucky is 16.1%. But in Scott Jennings' hometown of Dawson Springs, Kentucky, the poverty rate is 26.9%. National rate is just 12. So the poverty rate is more than double that in Dawson Springs. Here's some more information right here. Comparison to Kentucky. The poverty rate in Dawson Springs. Come on back to my iPad. Let's go. The poverty rate in Dawson Springs is more than 1.5 times the rate in Kentucky. Who's the largest demographic living in poverty in Scott Jennings, Dawson Springs? Females, 55 to 64. Followed by females, 35 to 44. Then females, 75 plus. Because see, Scott, he 47, y'all, so maybe he don't care because that ain't even in the, so he's like, oh yeah, we good. So the 45 to 54 people, they good. See what happens? See what happens when you go to the data? See, I really wish somebody on that panel last night was a little quick with the iPad. So I'm just letting y'all know what would happen. If Roe was on there and he said that bullshit, I would looked up, boom, Scott Jennings, hometown, Dawson Springs, boom, poverty rate. Scott, they talking about your broke ass town. We played the clip of the Congresswoman reciting how many people in each congressional district were going to lose Medicaid. But y'all, they don't care. See, this is why Bishop William Barber in the Poor People's Campaign, why they are trying to ignite poor folk in America, low income in America, the working class in America, to vote their economic interest. Because I don't care if you are white in Dawson Springs, Kentucky. I don't care if you are black in Albany, Georgia. I don't care if you are black in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. If you look at the poverty stats, they ain't doing your bidding there. Hell, Donald Trump just sat here and told his own girl, Sarah Huckabee, man, they ain't helping your ass with no tornadoes in Arkansas. St. Louis flattened because of tornadoes last week. Republican governor, 2 Republican U.S. senators, Josh Hawley punk ass, the same one trashing FEMA relief for other states, begging for help in Missouri. And Donald Trump, I'm sorry, my orange ass is going to Mar-a-Lago where I'm hosting a dinner for 200 people who I'm not releasing their names, who have given money to my coin.
Imagine for a few seconds if a Democrat president of the United States flatly denied disaster aid to any other state. The outrage would be at a fever pitch, and rightly so, but a Democrat wouldn't do this for obvious reasons. As president, you have an obligation to help people in situations like this. The sheer irresponsibility of Trump is one thing, but it's something to behold when a lawmaker has a lot of shit to say when another state is in need of funding like this, but when his or her state gets hit, their tune changes. Interesting.
I don't give a damn about you peons. Matter of fact, the phrase, let them eat cake, shit. Donald Trump ain't even giving them a cupcake, a honey bun, a Twinkie. He don't give a damn about y'all. the power of whiteness is what we're witnessing right now. So if the Senate passes this bill, all the rich folk are going to be sitting here saying, oh, yes, Donald, you the man, you done hooked us up. And all you broke-ass people, like the folk in Dawson Springs, Kentucky, I sure hope y'all have a word or two for your favorite son, Scott Jennings, who done gone to the big time. He running in high cotton. Oh, yeah, he ain't in the coal mines. He all dressed up and cute, and he doing meetings in the Oval Office and taking pictures, and Trump has endorsed his book. And your broke ass is gonna be homeless, foodless, fatherless, healthcare-less, hospital-less. I can throw any less on the end. That's what y'all gonna be in Dawson Springs and the whole state of Kentucky. Reese, going right ahead.
Wanted to stop it right there. I know Reese Colbert usually cooks, but I just wanted to get Roland Martin's thoughts here on this video regarding the big, beautiful bill and mostly about Scott Jennings. And again, whoever runs against that guy, they need to bring all of the heat possible because he does not belong anywhere near the U.S. Senate. Any house of government, to be honest with you, much less the Senate. But I digress. I'm done with this particular video. I don't have any additional thoughts, but as usual, if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves and remember, the power of the mind is valuable.